Huh. These fuselage halves don't have any alignment pins. Wonderful. Well, hello, Glue Troopers, and welcome back to the office. So, I didn't really get any work done today other than to watch some videos and do some research on the Douglas World Cruisers. The first day home, getting in late, I just kind of didn't have the mojo, and that got me thinking about when you're in the mood to model. And sometimes, you have time off, but the muse doesn't strike. And I've gotten away from forcing myself to make myself go build models when I'm really not in the mood. It is a hobby. It's supposed to be something you do because you want to. And I figure most of you have some input on that. Either just not feeling the mood or whatever. And I doubt any of us really just go out and build just because it's there. Sometimes maybe you don't really feel like building, but your model sits there half assembled on the table staring at you, passing judgment, and maybe it silently guilts you into doing a little work. But generally speaking, you got to want to do it. Now, I know some folks, they're always in the mood to build. But with all the travel and the late arrivals and stuff, I've been kind of takes me about a day at home, so maybe tomorrow I'll get started. But I did do some research. Usually my first day at home is more of a video day. And I like to see if there's anything new from Mike Machad or Trey's Models or Plastic Imagination or Mystic Modeler Ships, and watch that stuff and watch my history videos. Well, I watched the CD that came, which was made in 2005, about the World Cruisers and everything. And we'll probably be talking about it in some detail on the live stream. The good news is I was going over there's a good paint guide. Williams Brothers gives you excellent paint guides. And there's really only three basic colors to these airplanes. Yellow on the tops of the wings. The rest of it's either aluminum or olive drab. So I went to Hurricane Hobbies and I got a couple of paints that I needed. I'm going to have to largely pre-paint this. Biplanes, you kind of have to pre-paint some things because you can't really get in there with the struts and the rigging and everything. And 1/72 scale, I'm not sure if I'll rig them. I'll probably put some easy line, put the cross beams front and rear and on the sides and maybe a little on the tail, but I don't think I'm going to get into all the rigging because it can get tricky. And then again, maybe I'll get motivated. Of course, with 4 airplanes, I'll probably get better as I go. Right now, the temporary idea is to make one of them on the wheels, one of them on the floats, and a couple of them in various stages of being changed to maybe make a little display diorama sort of showing when they landed on the water and had to be put on their floats or the other way around, to kind of show 2 of them under maintenance getting it swapped out. And something like that to show the various ways the airplane, was configured. It took 6 months for these guys to go around the world, and they lost 2 of the airplanes. We'll talk about this in more detail. There was actually a 5th airplane that joined them later on that finished with them, but only 2 of them made it all the way around the world. Hopefully I'll be seeing one of them later this month, later next month. Go out and visit Mike, and we'll head, because one of them's at Santa Monica where the planes were built at the museum there. And also, I've already seen the one that was also in I believe it's the Chicago, that's in the National Air and Space Museum. And when you think that this was done in 1924, you realize that, the airplane was about 21 years old when they did this. That's just unbelievable they pulled it off. And yeah, it took 6 months and a lot of support. In fact, we're going to talk about how all that support they needed kind of hurt them in a way. It's in 2000, a guy took a biplane around the world. He's the first person to solo a biplane around the world, and it took him almost the exact same 6 months it took the original guys. And I think he was in a Stearman with an ox tank. But anyway, well, a couple ox tanks. But we'll talk about that in more detail at the live stream. So the primary colors are basically an olive drab, yellow, and aluminum. And the olive drabs I have are maybe just a skosh too green. I might have to mix something with a little brown in it to try and get that tint right. It's kind of a dark olive drab, somewhere between a green and a brown. But And a lot of folks have already sent me reference photos of models that have been built in the airplanes and everything, the color photos, and I appreciate that. I'll try and do a nice job on it. I was going to build them in here, but with 4 of them, I'm not sure if it might not be easier to spread it out on a table out in the Tarbis. But the thing is, since each airplane's 1/72nd scale, smaller, I can build them in here. I need to spread out bigger planes like the Betty and the other P-38 that, well, I don't know. I built that first P-38 largely in here. Well, Des runs out of room pretty quick. But the World Cruisers, it's funny. You watch a video, and the next thing you know, you're motivated to build a model that you've had on the shelf for a while. And but they look like pretty straightforward. Paint schemes on them are mercifully simple. So, well, famous last words, huh? And I mean, the Betty here had a simple paint scheme, and I managed to have to do that twice. So never underestimate your ability to mess up a paint job. Well, at least not my ability. So that's where we're at right now. That's what I got for this evening, and I just want to pull something out. Live streams tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Hopefully tomorrow I'll feel like doing a little model building. My plan is to build all 4 interiors first, and then probably just get those painted and everything, get them inside. I have to look at the instructions because the way it goes together, it's going to be a lot easier again if I pre-paint it as much as I can. But some of this stuff I may have to get in with a brush after I'm done. I don't know. I want to hopefully the supporting struts real quick on a biplane. They have what's called a bay, and that is the area between the sets of wing struts. So if you have like a Sopwith Camel that has a set of wing struts outboard on each wing, and then just those cabane struts that go to the fuselage, that's single bay. But if you have like a SPAD, an outer set of struts, a middle set of struts, and then the cabane struts, that's called a twin bay because each side has 2 bays between the struts. And these airplanes are single bay, so that make them a little easier to deal with and rig. And hopefully, but it's still hard to get in there and paint. So the more you have pre-painted ahead of time, the easier it gets. And the question is, because some of these cabane struts and fuselage supporting struts are attached to the fuselage, but they're a different color. They come out of the aluminum section. So I may have to pre-paint everything and then put them in, or put them in, paint everything, and then hand paint the struts or whatever. I want to get as much as I can, because once those wings go on, you run out of maneuvering room real fast, especially when you got big knuckles like I do. So anyway, guys, that's where we're at for right now. Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. We'll talk at you later. See you at the live stream, and as always, model on.